say, I normally have a 100-watt bulb and it burned out, so that's why I have to work it a little bit more with my hands. It's very different from wood carving, because basically what we do is we put everything on that is the person or the calf or the horse, rather than a wood carver who starts with a block of wood and takes off everything that isn't the cow or the horse or the person. So inside this piece there's thin wire, and it's just strictly a stick person to give it some structure, and the same with the calves. And then I will take the clay, which is called plastilina. It comes in 2-pound blocks, and there's a variety of different types, but it's basically the cheapest part of the process and the most recyclable part of the process, because I'm using the same clay I started with about 20 years ago. And the reason for that is, once we've finished doing the clay piece and we're happy with it, I take it to the foundry, and you can see here this is the little dog that was for this piece. And when the foundry gets it, they make a mold from it. And the mold looks like this. This is a sample mold from my little cat. And this is plaster of Paris on the outside. And this is latex on the inside. It's a little sticky, it hasn't been apart for a while. And what happens is they take the piece of clay and they coat it with the latex. And they partition it off in the first part, and what they'll have to do is take things like the ears and probably one of the legs off, because if you think about a 4-legged animal, you can't get them apart. But if you cut one of the legs off and run it in a line, now you have an L-shaped mold and you can get it off. But that means you have to put that leg back on. So for this example, you can see this is the little cat. And here's the cat that's been cut apart. So this is a replica of the clay that I made. And we actually pour wax inside it and pour it out several times. And what'll happen is the inside of this is now hollow. And that's important, especially for bigger pieces, because when you cast a larger piece in the clay, or in the bronze rather, you don't want it to be solid, because the inside will cool more slowly than the outside and you have the potential for cracking. So we take that, and I do most of my own wax chasing is what they call it, and that's a key part of why the bronze pieces are not considered copies, because the bronze itself does not come from this mold. It comes from the wax, and each wax has to be put back together again, and being human, they're not going to be put back together again exactly the same each time. So each piece, each edition in the series is a unique piece. So when I fix the wax all up, I take it back to the foundry and they sprue it up, and spruing simply means putting bars of wax on various parts and putting it all together, and then they dip that in a liquid ceramic. Now remember, we said that the wax was hollow. Well, they cut a hole in the side of it so the ceramic can get inside as well as outside, and they build a shell up probably about half an inch thick in some cases. They dry it and they put sand over it each dipping. It gets dipped about 7 different times to build the shell up on it. When that's finished, they fire it. And the ceramic gets fired at about 1800 degrees Fahrenheit and the wax melts out, and that's where they get the term lost wax. It's the very same process they use to make crowns for your teeth, and jewelers use the same process to make custom rings. When that ceramic shell has been fired and all the wax is out, while it's still hot, they pour the molten bronze into it, and wherever the wax was, the bronze goes. Metal cools fairly quickly, and we chip all the ceramic off. We weld in the window so that it seals up the hollow piece, and then they apply different chemical mixtures to it to get the different colors, and that's the patina. And when they finish that, it's rather dull looking actually. It looks kind of like a car that's been left out in the sun too long. So at that point, while it's still hot, they put a very thin layer of paste wax on it. They use a bristle brush. And the wax provides a very thin coating to protect the patina from the oils in your hands, the chemicals in the air, etc. And it gives us that shine. And then if it requires a base, we put it on a base, and we're done. So there's about 17 steps from start to finish for the very first piece, and then any subsequent pieces in the process after that start from the wax and go to the end through the metalwork.
The roadie. You're the roadie? eyes wide open here. Oh, good. Whoa.